All right, we're live. Hey guys. Hey everybody in the chat. I'm going to start off by saying hello to everybody. There's Cecilia, Jansen, Nicole, Grace, Thomas, David outdoors. We got, I saw earlier there was my dad, Jean. I don't know if he's still in here. Bonjour, papa. Van Life with Gina Payne. All right, how you guys doing? I'm so excited to present you guys Howie Jones because he is from Food Forest Permaculture and he is everywhere in the chats. Like if you have not seen the little green bonsai tree, I mean, he's everywhere. So I found him maybe about like, I don't know, 6 months ago, Howie. And I actually hopped on his 24-hour live stream on Earth Day and met some pretty sweet people. I almost ran him all day. And oh, I see Julian Fournier. Here's my brother. Oh, with Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle, my niece. I haven't seen her in years. Hi, how are you doing? Heath Budecker, I think his name is. Awesome. I'm Jack from the Mindful Homestead. How are you doing? All right, so I'm gonna ask Howie a couple questions, just like an interview style, and then we're gonna open up the chat, and I'm gonna let my chat roll, because I usually have a hard time with keeping up with the chat and answering all the questions. So I'm just gonna let it roll. If I have not answered a question, pop it in there again, or if you guys are moderators, just like say, okay, heads up, this question was asked a few times. I'm gonna try to do it that way this week. So thank you, Jack, for sharing out Howie's channel. That is amazing. You guys can go check out his link, subscribe to him if you like what you see. He's got an awesome 11-year-old food forest out in Victoria, B.C. And he actually said there's one, I think that's like 46 years old, Howie?
Yeah, my granddaddy made it with me when I was a kid. Still there. My niece owns it now. It's
That's
beautiful.
amazing. See, so
Yeah.
he's got so much experience with growing stuff, with building soil. He transforms his produce a lot, and he interacts a lot with his community to exchange goods. And I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
just so awesome what he does. So first of all, Howie, I wanted to ask you, why did you start your YouTube channel?
To promote growing food and a healthier lifestyle, and to show some things that I do and I was doing, and just wanted to see what it was all about. It said it was a video platform, so checked it out. Learned a couple things. I'm not very good at technology, so I've slowly find my way, but I've shown pathway soil bank building with it. That was a big thing to show and tell people that you can make soil in layers
Yeah.
from free biomass in your environment, so it doesn't cost money. You don't need to have money or be owner of the land. You can have like a landmate. A landmate means that a person like a church or something like that would have land. There's common ground in the city. You approach the city and you show a plan and they let you build it. And then there's people's private property, their lawns, and you slowly make changes in their regiment, like, oh, nothing leaves the property that's biodegradable.
Yeah.
Nothing leaves. You make everything in layers, just like nature. Nature, leaves fall on the ground, bugs die, birds go, poop.
Yeah.
and it goes on the ground and it builds 1 inch every 10 years, like that. So what you do with pathway soil bank building is you condense that time to 3 to 5 years instead of waiting 40 years or 50 years.
Yeah, that's
Like
amazing.
in the South, permaculture is big in chop and drop. With the nitrogen fixtures that they plant them to chop and drop to make the soil. I just it takes like a extreme amount of time in the northern hemisphere to grow soil. It doesn't work like in the southern hemisphere. So I just condensed that to pathway soil bank to increase it quickly. And where it would accumulate by itself, because you train your neighbor with his lawn clippings to come and put it in the pathway. And if he's reducing his shrubs, it goes into the pathway. And then if you have your kitchen waste, that goes into the pathway. And then
So
you have some bark mulch from tree companies. So you're making layers and it just turns into soil. So before you build a food forest in the northern hemisphere, or raised beds or hugel mounds, you need soil. You can either dole out the cash, or you can roll out the pathway soil bank building. It's up to you, right? And
So your
whatever
pathway,
biomass you have.
so how your pathway, are you talking about your forest floor?
Yeah.
There you go. So the forest floor is like where you want to plant everything. And so, because it was mixing up, like when I was going through your pathway soil bank videos, and I was like, okay, is he like doing like, I don't know, mounds and then putting stuff inside the pathway? That's like I was telling you, I had a question on that because I had a little theory. Like, if I have 30-inch beds and then I have an 18-inch pathway where that's where I walk. Could I build stuff into that pathway to
That's where you're
eventually?
supposed to do it. Do it anywhere you can. Make soil. Once you make soil, you have food from within the soil.
There
Simple.
you go.
You
Okay,
want to
so you
you
put
want to make a food forest. You're going to plant trees, so it's nice to put in some pathway soil bank that you've already made. And that's why if you go look at the videos, and that's where all the food forests that we've built around here, you'll see them in there making their pathways. Some dig, like if there's no water there, like, and it's heavy clay, they'll dig out a trench and then fill it with pathway soil bank. All their biomass in your area that's for free that people bring you, they'd fill it up, and that turns into soil right away, especially in the summertime. And
yeah,
if you bought soil, it costs money. And if you want to find good soil, it's best to make your own.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, I have another question for you. So you talk about nitrogen fixers a lot. So I
Yeah.
want I want you to explain to everybody what is the purpose of having nitrogen fixing plants, and what are some that you have and in your forest. So you were telling me that snow is an awesome nitrogen fixer. I had no idea. So I would really love for you to explain to them why you want to have those plants.
Well, they take nitrogen out of the air, plants. There's annuals and perennials. So they take it out of the air and it comes into the plant through the stomata and goes into the ground as nodules. And you'll see them, they look like little bumps attached to a root system, and that's the nitrogen. Pull out a radish and have a look at it, and then you'll see the little nodules there on the root system of
On the root,
radish.
yeah.
You ever see that? Well,
Yeah.
that's the nitrogen fixer, radish. And that's the fastest one. That takes 21 days. That's an annual. It just perennials grow back by themselves, like ceanosis, mountain ash, autumn olive. Those are shrubs that are shrubs. They come back every year. You don't have to plant them, but then radish and peas and beans and that kind of thing, they're all nitrogen fixers, but you have to plant them all the time. So it's good to have it mixed up in your orchard. Have a nitrogen fixer beside your fruit tree, because it's going to put the nitrogen there, you see. And then microbes break that down in the soil, right? Yeah. And so that the roots can take it up, or even transport it on the mycelium.
Great. Awesome. I have caraganas planted all in my orchard. So caraganas are like, I think a lot of nitrogen fixers have beans on them, right? I think for the shrubs, they have a lot of beans in there. Or is it just because it's because I know at D5, what is beans, green beans? I think those are nitrogen.
Oh yeah.
Fixers
Oh yeah. Peas, beans, radishes, lentils. List is really endless. They're finding new ones. When they find them, you have to pull the plant out and get it out and actually have the nitrogen test right there. Boom, you have your nodule, and then you can register that you found another one, and they're still being found.
That's awesome. I love that they're discovering new things every year. It's like it's not a science, it's nature, and nature has so much things to explore and to learn from, and we got so much to learn from it. I think that's amazing. I just want to say hello to some new people in the chat. I have Blake that came in, Bob's Adventure. I have Pete's Little Homestead. How you doing? Thanks for coming in here. So you guys pretty much all know Howie. He's everywhere in the live chats, and he's got so much knowledge. And I just think he's amazing what he does. So, and I learn a lot from him actually looking through his stuff and his soil bank videos. So I think you guys should go really check that out because it's such amazing soil. What he's saying, like I think there's an orchard. Is that your friend's place that's built on rocks?
Yeah, my students. Two of my students do that. they wanted to grow some food, but it was all a rocky hill. There was no soil, or very little, if any. And I said, well, you got to make your soil first, or you can buy it. Once we explained how much money it cost to buy it, or you change your regiment a little bit, he took that route because he's very money saving type guy, very frugal, and his wife too. They're very smart people. They're
Yeah.
techs in a hospital,
Oh,
so they wanted their own food. So this year we actually finished planting all the tree crops there. It looks
um,
cool.
it
And he
does
built
look
his own
cool.
greenhouse too.
Yeah, I
All
saw
out of
that.
all from recycled material, 80%
That's
recycled.
amazing.
I remember bringing windows as I found them too. Because you're networking, you tell somebody, hey, you got some windows, and leave them here or there. And then when you're out and about, you find them. And then we accumulated enough. It took about a year to get all the materials for free. So, or
Wow.
you can run out and buy it if you have the money. That's like a luxury. Go for it.
Yep.
The idea is to be sustainable. So you want to use what you have, or can attain for free, or was going to be thrown away and can be recycled. So that's the route we went. And he did all the work. I just gave him the ideas, right? And
That's
I
good.
bring the glass and stuff. And so now he has to make a circuit around the hill. And now he has a rock climbing wall area that he goes over, which is really cool. The guy's pushing 60 plus.
Wow.
So he's still rock climbing, bouldering, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Him and his wife do the circuit all the way around the property where they never used that before. Because you're looking at a rock. So what can you grow with a rock?
Yeah.
Well, you throw lemons up there by themselves. They volunteer or satsumas. You see it in the video. He's so proud and excited. Oh, that's made it through the winter because of the radiant heat, just like Sepp Holzer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we put in a lot of fruit trees, apples, pears. Three. See, each time you put an apple, pear, or plum in, you want to put early, mid, and late. That
Yeah.
way, if the frost comes, well, your early ones you will get very little. Maybe some of the middle ones, and then the late ones you will definitely get, like Italian prunes and stuff, and damsons. You're going to be sure to get them.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out there. So the way that there's a whole bunch of varieties. Like pear can have a whole bunch of varieties, and there's earlier harvest, there's midsummer, and then there's fall harvest. So if
Late,
you
yep.
guys are looking into having like a more sustainable orchard, then look into all the dates that those things are going to be pushing out the fruit, so that you're able to have some for longer in the summertime. So you just don't have like two trees that blossom and everything at the same time. That's what I did here at my in my orchard as well. And speaking of growing things, Howie, are there things that you really love to eat in your food forest, but you hate to grow?
Yeah, pineapples. I love. I hate growing them because I have to wait like almost 3 years to eat them.
Yeah.
But no, I don't hate anything of the food forest. I go with it. I don't impose. I have a synergy with it. Like I go out there every day. Hummingbirds come right at my face. I don't take the video and all that. And I'm not, I just want to be the sanctuary in there at like one. And I'll go out there. And today we had huge blue dragonflies come in. The red ones took off because these other guys are huge compared to them. And it's always something interesting. Bald eagles came today when we were eating our lobster dinner. And that was like, you're looking up and it's like flying really low. And there's these ducks that are on top of the house. They put a nest there. So he's picking off some of them.
Oh
But,
no.
well, it's the way it is.
Well, at
It's
least you're not eating your
nature.
chickens.
But always enjoying the place, the synergy, and meeting people in these little villages on YouTube. And they're in like this village, that village, and then one day you go live, and all these people get to meet each other.
Yeah.
They never knew of each other before, and I've seen this over and over, and that's a lot of fun learning that way too.
Well, just recently, I have Louis from L'Age DIY that is in the chat right now. He drove from Quebec and he went to meet you. How was that?
It's pretty good. It
Yeah.
was fun. We went down to the beach. We went through the food forest, and he took some video, and it was a lot of fun. He's a really nice guy. He's a nice guy. Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed his time. I told him you're welcome here anytime. And he was very interested how everything looked. It just looked after itself, and just leave it alone. He kept saying, "You don't do anything. You just leave it alone." I'm like, "Yeah, leave it alone." And it all works together, and it's called polyculture. They look after each other. If you put a lettuce out there by itself, it's going to get eaten. But if you put some garlic there and some other plants around it, it wouldn't be so bad, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Speaking of like some challenges of growing things, do you have some good recommendations of bushes that can grow in the shade, like full shade?
Sure. Jostaberry, currant, gooseberry, blueberry, huckleberry grows in the shade. Now,
Blueberry can
filtered
grow in
sunlight
full shade?
different. Sorry, what?
Blueberries can grow in full shade?
Oh yes, there's varieties that are in full shade, or there's ones out in the open, like the ground ones. They need sun, like the Athabascan ones and the northern blues. They need a little bit of sun. But on the west coast here, the blueberries grow throughout the rainforest in filtered sunlight, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
It's shade, but it's nice. They're the Alaskan oval blueberries, and there's about three kinds. And there's a bilberry here that grows in stumps, old cedar stumps.
Wow.
And well, I'll tell you the story about it. It's to improve your vision, the bilberries. Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting.
Is
All
that
these
like in the nightshade family?
no,
Or
no,
is that something like
vacuum. They're vacuum ovatum. No, yeah, Vaxium movatum. That's black, like huckleberry. That's
okay?
black bilberry, black blueberry.
Because
Vaxium.
I
Yeah.
heard that nightshade family things are good to help you see in dark light. And I read that somewhere and I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Hmm. Nightshade's generally not good for you, like rhubarb leaves, potato leaves. So it's all nightshade.
I don't
Goji
know.
berry.
Ben was reading through something. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Oh, I
Yeah.
have some French people in the chat, and today is actually the Saint Jean Baptiste. It's our national holiday. So I want to
Yeah.
say Bonne Saint Jean Baptiste at Sim Extreme. And he's asking if I have a good blueberry pie recipe. I do not have a good, but maybe Howie does because he transforms a whole bunch of stuff.
I do make my own blueberry pie, but I add peaches.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I
peach
like
and
peach and
blueberry.
blueberry together. It's fabulous. And I just buy the
Hmm.
dough from the store. I'm lazy. and so I do that. I used to make it out of bear grease. It was the best, bear fat. That makes
Really?
oh yeah, that makes the best pie dough. You can't beat that. But you know, whatever you want to do. But I would add just a bit of peach and applesauce to the blueberry to thicken it. Put it onto the already baked pie crust from the store. You bake it when you bring it home, and then you put the filling in. Don't put the filling in first. You want it crispy, crunchy with the blueberry. I was a baker, a pie baker at a bakery for a while, and that was what I had to do. I had to make tens of thousands of pies.
Oh, wow.
I
So you
know.
went from pie baker to educator, teacher,
Well,
and
it's just
do
something
you have any studies or education in that field, or are you self-taught?
in which field, like
I
the
mean, because you're
baking business.
teaching.
A master baker showed me how to bake
No, not in
two
baking.
different ones,
I
but
said
it was just self-taught at work baking
I was
skills.
talking about like your food forest. I was coming back to the food forest
Oh,
because
okay.
you said you were a teacher, and I was wondering, do you have education in that, or were you inspired by somebody or self-taught?
In permaculture,
Yeah,
I'm self-taught.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like
I
the
have all
majority
the
of the
books. I've
people.
gone to like classes, and I just sat through them and then just left. I didn't do it too much. If I wanted to go and get a certificate, I could have one pretty like in one day. I just go and I write this test in one day. I did a 10-week course at Sanford University on permaculture, and that was fun. That was a free online course. I took that years and years ago, and all of Bill Mollison's books I've studied. That's the originator of permaculture, and
Yeah,
I've seen all his videos and his interviews and his conferences and lectures that he's all gone to. I've watched everything that there's available, and same with his co-originator. I've read many of his books, tree crops and stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly what they wrote about, and then what could go on to the tree as a natural arbor, like grapes and kiwis. That's I added some of that onto mine, so I didn't have to build an arbor. You're going with nature. You're using what would be in nature. So all my fruit trees and tree crops are all polycultured. They all look after each other. It's quite neat to see because they have more strength than other trees because they're all interlocked with grapevines, so they don't blow around and lose all the pollen. They actually have some oomph, they're not flapping around.
Yeah, I saw that in one of your videos. Your grapevines are growing along your trees.
Yep.
And did you have to like train them to go up
Yep.
that
Yep.
way?
You just tie a line to the top of the tree if you already have an existing one, or
Yeah.
up so far, bring it down and put the grapevine onto it. It'll just grow right up to it and then all hang off the tree. And
But
then
does
you just use
your
it.
tree have to be a certain size? You can't probably can't do that to a younger tree, right?
Sure, you can. They'll grow up together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I got 3 vines I need to plant, and my orchard's like,
Put them on your trees. Put them on your trees that don't put them on your short orchard trees like your Tom Thumbs, but put them on fruit trees that you're going to let grow up a lot.
my pear tree.
And then staggering, like say, if it's cherries will, you get them in early summer. And so you'll get grapes if you're attaching to that in late summer. So you're staggering it. And here I have everything: kiwi, passion fruit growing, lots of different kind of grapes. What the best thing to do is to go in your local area, look and see what grapes are already growing there,
Yeah.
or fruit trees, and get those. That's what you want. And you have to graft it onto, a stock that's hardy for your northern areas like you are. So, but if you go and get volunteers if you find a volunteer growing, that's the one for you. And you can bring in like a lot of fruit trees, but if you do, make sure you can trace right to that it's in your local area or your zone.
Yeah.
And so and then you won't have a problem. Like I grew my trees all from apple pits and seeds and stuff like that, and so I don't suggest that for anybody that's middle-aged because that takes 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Go and find what's in your local area and bring that home. That's for you because it's already established, climatized, hybridized, all the dyes. But, that's what's going to grow for you. Simple as that.
And that's amazing, amazing advice. I got that advice given to me when I started my orchard too. And that it's been working out for me. I only lost, I think, about 3 out of 40 fruit trees since I've been here. And they're growing on a rock where everybody said, don't plant your stuff on a rock. And I'm like, well, that's the only place that's dry enough and it's not swampy in the springtime. And, so I
when
got
you
it in there and
when
they've been thriving.
Nice. If you have a swampy area, that's a perfect place to put a pathway soil bank on top.
Yeah.
Just start don't do anything, but just keep putting it there in layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And then it won't be swampy no more. It'll be like a sponge to soak up so much water that'll release it over the summer and you don't have to water as much.
Yeah.
You're working with the water that's there. And if it's no water, then you dig a trench and put your pathway soil bank in the trench. So once you make them, they're called banks for a reason. That when you need it in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have your soil available.
Yeah.
It's right there to enrich, say, your field. If you're growing in your field, you don't need to have an all rich black soil. You have to work with amending what you have. So you're taking it from your pathway soil bank, which you can make a really large one. And then you're putting it into your field and you're enriching that. And it's a no-till. You put it on top and it works really good. It works really good. I like your black tarp there.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's heating it up so you can get your tomatoes or your watermelon so far north.
Well, wonderful. I don't put the black tarp on my cultures. I put them to close it down for the winter time, and then so that because now I have 2 gardens that aren't opened up yet. But if I didn't have those tarps on, and if it was on bare soil, you know what it would do? It would just weeds would go crazy. So I don't have them mulched down yet on those
Mhm.
ones. But so that's why I get the black tarp on there for those ones. But I do have a soil bank in the process, in the making. Actually, I had
Nice.
my horses were overwintered last winter, not this one, that but the other one before,
Mhm.
in a spot, and it got so swampy and so disgusting. So we emptied out a whole bunch of materials in there. There were big, big rocks. And so we emptied it out. And then I mixed it up with the excavator. So there's a whole bunch of dirt that was there with the horse poo. And it is becoming so beautiful and gorgeous. So I'm just going to keep dropping stuff on there and
Yeah,
building
that's
soil.
pathway soil bank building. That's what happens in
Yeah.
nature. It falls down, accumulates on the ground. Now, if you speed that up with pathway soil bank, you make some really nice soil really fast. And that's what you need to, if you're making nice rows for your garlic or carrots or cabbages,
Yeah.
that's what you need is that rich, rich soil. And you're adding it every year. You're doing it every year. You food from within the soil, but nutrients goes in. You're constantly putting it in there, and then it's constantly giving it back to you.
Yeah.
And it has the right microbes. See, once you're doing that, you're not using fertilizers, you're not killing the microbes. Microbes break down a lot of toxins and make them inert. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens is that it does it really quickly, and the land has healed itself and it's healthy and you can plant it. But then if you don't do it that way with adding your rich biomass as a mulch, you're adding fertilizer. Well, it's there's nothing alive in there, and it doesn't have the same nutrient amount of nutrients or the healthy there's a lot more oxygen the plant's giving off, that it doesn't hold it in. So with the correct soil, and you've made it with no fertilizers, no pesticides, no herbicides, the microbes, the indigenous microorganisms, are much healthier
Yeah.
to give that plant the right vibration. Just like
Living
just
soil.
like you, just like you get your negative ions when you smell that rain, or down by the ocean or waterfalls, you can feel the ions on your biorhythm. That's the same idea. You want them plants to have a good vibration. Some people play music there; it's a good vibration, and it really works. To have a happy, healthy plant means happy, healthy human. Yeah,
Yes. Nutrient dense foods from living soils. There's so much more
living soil.
fulfilling. There's so much more fulfilling than just the store bought stuff. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hold that thought on the rainwater. I have a little question on that,
sure.
but I just want to say hello to Sony's place that's in here. I have Grace that just popped in. I want to say hi, and Mindful Homestead Jack. He is actually working on a video. He usually edits every time I'm live, and he said I'm finally getting my video done for tomorrow for your live. So I'm glad he's in here, and he's got a pretty cool recipe with garlic scapes, because everybody has like that pesto and it's getting a little boring. So tomorrow morning he's popping out a video, so you guys should go check that out. Jack from the Mindful Homestead. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So I'm going to come back to okay. You know how I've had a drought here for 3 weeks, and
You
I've
were
been watering my stuff down and watering it down, and it's been really crazy. So I recently had a big drop of rain, and Ben and I were wondering, why in the world does rainwater make everything just so like explode? Like my weeds are going crazy right now.
nitrogen.
So it's the oxygen, right?
Nitrogen in the
Nit-
rainwater.
Nitrogen. So there you go. We were
Yeah.
like, it's got to be full of something that our water in our well doesn't have, you
Oh,
know?
sure, sure. Your air is, I think, it's 40% nitrogen. So the plant cleans the air, brings it in, and puts it into, and if it's a nitrogen fixer, puts it into nodules in the ground. That's what you want. That's the perfect
Yeah.
tree.
So the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
thing would be for a gardener would be to get your rainwater
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
water
yeah.
your garden with that water
Yep. Yep.
than with your well.
Rainwater is nice. Snow is nice. It's loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nitrogen, I always put my wood ash and my biochar every year all over the forest floor. I accumulate it from burning my wood stove. And
Yeah.
then I'll make some biochar in the salmon smoker and
Yeah.
just and I collect it, right? So it's easily crushed. So what that does is it soaks up like 10 times its weight in water. Biochar. So where you have a place that's drying out on your land, you added a lot of biochar, that actually grabs a hold of the water and the nitrogen that's coming in with the water. So the root comes along, it's constantly fed this beautiful nitrogen with the water soluble. That's how it works, hey?
There you go.
That's that, and that lasts 50,000 years, that biochar, once you get it all in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go away anytime soon. It's supposed to be there. Like when you see them burn down the rainforest and they grow all these beautiful crops, well, there's a reason why. All the nutrients is right there in the
Yeah.
biochar. So you're just replicating nature when you make pathway soil bank. You add the biochar and the wood ash in there. So when you do spread it out, it's a massive floral explosion happens
Yeah.
in a couple of months.
And I think also ashes remove some acidity in the soil, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's alkaline. Now
It is.
there's different caustic. So if you have that gray ash, it's not too bad, but you get that real white ash that can burn something. It can burn a plant like that's in veg.
Okay.
But something that's dormant like an apple or fruit tree, from the trunk to the water drip line of the tree, that's where you can spread some ash in there, biochar, and some chop and drop, and some pathway soil bank, and boom, you're gonna get, if you plant a fruit tree in 3 to 5 years, you're getting fruit for sure, because you're making layers.
Yeah.
But it's really important to remember biochar is number one to be in the soil, and number two is actually clay. It has nutrients that can, once you make clay soluble in water, biochar grabs a hold all those minerals.
Yeah.
Okay, people go out buying rock dust and all that. Well, you don't have to. Just use your wood ash, and wood ash can be put onto like garlic bulbs, and they swell right up. I mean, like, they really pack. They're heavy nutrient feeders, and you don't throw away your wood ash, and you collect biochar wherever you go, in old burns. People are going camping, whatever,
Yeah.
anywhere there's been an old burn. But you don't want to, anything with metal in it, or plastic that's been burnt, or oil's been burnt. You want a
Yeah.
nice clean stuff that's been burnt, or something like that, and
Definitely.
that stuff spread around and tilled in a little bit, like a shallow till, not a heavy till, but a shallow till is what organic
Five,
farmers
5 inches.
do. Well, yeah, that's about as far as you could go for a shallow till. I wouldn't go that far, 3 inches, but some people go 5 and just knock off the root system.
Yeah.
And then they also have like torches to burn the weeds. And I've been on several. If you look at my old videos, that you can see organic farmers being interviewed that are like my best friends and stuff, and they sit in there like, oh yeah, Howie brought the sunchokes here, and now I have money in the wintertime where he didn't have money before.
That's
So
cool.
the sunchokes to all the restaurants, because chefs have to know what to do with sunchokes, or the common man must learn a few timing and tricks to use sunchokes, or you're going to have gas problems. And if you have sensitive stomach or something, it's not for you. But if you have diabetes, I mean, it's a natural inulin. It's a fiber that grabs a hold of sugar that's in sunchokes, hey?
That's cool.
And so your pancreas don't have to pump out the insulin to deal with it. You see? Yeah, the inulin from the sunchoke dealt with it, so it's easier for you. And sunchokes have that, and also prickly pear cactus pads. The Opuntia nupale, that has it too, to lower your sugar level
S-
because of the soluble fiber.
So for the people that don't know what sunchokes are, they're Jerusalem artichokes.
Yep.
They're tubulars, a little bit like potatoes, but they grow up like a big sunflower.
Well, they're Helianthus tuberosa. They're Helianthus. They're sunflower.
Okay,
Oh yeah, you're quite right.
there you go.
Yeah.
But you can eat the tubers like a potato, sort of.
Yeah, they're tasty. After it gets cold a few times,
Yeah,
and then
and
that
they're
takes the
sugary.
gas out. Or you can pressure cook them with turmeric, and that takes out the gas.
Oh, that must be good for you.
Well, it sure is. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory, and it lowers your blood sugar level. So some people that have high blood sugar level or have inflammation, yeah, it's real good. It's nice.
Be
I
careful
like
when you
it.
plant them because they're very they take up a lot of space and they multiply a lot. So I
Yeah, it
haven't
has thousands
invested
of
in it.
pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have set an intimacy fence that inspired by Howie, actually. Well, I heard that there's some people over here. Last year I tried to grow some, but I kept them over winter and they rotted in their space. And
oh
so
no.
my plan was to plant them all around my orchard because what happens with sunchokes, what I heard, is that around your orchard they'll grow really, really high, and then in the wintertime the stalks will break. And so if there's deer that want to come in through the snow, they'll get poked by the sunchoke branches.
Ooh.
And so it's like a natural defense. And so I thought that was really cool. So that's what I wanted to do originally. But then I ran out of sunchokes because they all I didn't preserve them good enough. But yeah. So that's what eventually I think I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's an interesting food source. It's a winter food source for in the northern hemisphere. It's very important as a fodder to feed goats, cattle, chickens, whatever you want to feed with that. That's a fodder, hey.
Pigs
And
will dig through and eat.
yeah, and then the pigs will actually, if you don't want it there anymore, you bring in pigs and then they'll just digest everything. They'll eat everything and it's gone. But it's an awesome source for food. If you pulled the stalk out, nobody knows where that was except you. So you grow a few around the trees. I
Yeah.
just chop and drop everything of those. Then I don't eat it for like 3 months later after I chop and drop it all.
Oh, that's cool.
And December on is when I eat my tubers, and that way there's not as much gas and you have a more comfortable time. Because you have colitis or something like that, it's not a good idea to eat sunchokes.
No, yeah.
No, it's very irritable that way.
All right, so Howie, I got I think one last question for you, and then we're
Sure.
gonna open up the chat and just have a little laid back conversation. I'll go get a glass of wine, and I just wanted to know, that Ben has really bad back pains, and he has a hard time with gardening and stuff. And I had Wild Edibles ask in one of my videos. She said, "Ask Howie, how does he deal with the pain because he's got arthritis?" And he wanted to know, yeah, how do you deal with the pain in gardening and stuff? Because it's a very hard activity and pastime. So
Well, the type of food growing that I grow doesn't require a lot of work. Like your traditional type of gardening, you're weeding. I don't weed.
yeah,
You're out there. I grow, and then I have another one growing behind that, and another one growing behind that. But if you're in pain, that's because you're high in uric acid, eh? And uric acid is eliminated through drinking lots of lemon water. So you want to break down the plaque, uric acid, that kind of thing, anything that's like in a shard. You want to break that down. You eat raw vegetables, lots and lots of raw vegetables and lemon water, and you deal with it that way, flushing out the uric acid, because that's what's on your neurological. And I'm not a doctor. I've just been told this by orthomolecular scientists and practitioners. I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm just a parrot. That's all I claim to fame to. So what you do is you flush out these uric acid buildup, and you don't eat foods that's high in uric acid, like dead foods. Like dead foods don't have any enzymes for complex molecule building.
yeah,
You want to eat fresh. You're born with so many enzymes in your digestion tract. Okay, once they're all used up, you become old, rancid, and stinky. So you don't want to do that. You want to have longevity.
yeah,
So you eat your malic acid and your enzymes that break down plaque. It's always the plaque that gets you. And there's two kinds of plaque. One is a pimple that's in your heart and it pops. That's called soft plaque, and you end up with a heart attack, and they got to put a stent in there, and it's not so fun. And then there's the hard plaque that breaks off your arterial walls or your capillaries or your vessels and blocks, right? That's hard plaque, and that's a stroke, right? So to eliminate those two, that you never have it, and then that's in there with the uric acid too. Anything calcifying, you want to eliminate so that he doesn't have pain. You want things fluid. So
so,
you must drink, say, at least 2 gallons of water and 4 or 5 lemons and limes a day, maybe a shot of apple cider vinegar too. You want to break down and eat lots and lots of raw vegetables. And what happens then is that the uric acid is not there because you're getting that in like meats, bacon, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where the uric acid is building up in him. So he's feeling it, right? He's feeling it. He's
Yeah. Oh, Ben's
not,
got a really bad back. He's got like, I think 5 hernia discs in his back, and then he's
yeah.
got his
You want to
articulations,
clean everything out. You want to
arthritis.
clean everything out with lemon water every day. As soon as he wakes up, he should be flushing with lemon water. As soon as he wakes up. And his lymph, you want to drain his lymph too. You want to drain any waste toxins. They're called, what's the word for it? It's a type of toxins. And you want them all to leave. And then he's clean inside. It's called the cleanse for a reason, right? It's
I'm gonna
cleanse.
make him watch this.
Yeah, it's eat raw vegetables and masticate. You want the complex molecule building to happen. So you must chew more. Ben must chew more his raw vegetables. So what that does is when it goes inside him, inside his stomach, it's a bicarbonate. So it's really alkalized. So on the outside of the stomach wall that's inside you, like that's where the enzymes are there to catch the nutrients for complex molecule building and coenzymes. And there's a bunch of them. And that's a whole new ball game to learn too. And so what is happening is if Ben can cleanse, and it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. The body, he's going to be up every hour peeing. So because he's drinking all this liquid.
Yeah.
So it's like if you want the toxins out of soil, you flood the soil with lots of water, and then they go, and it becomes into the microbial to be made inert faster. So what you're doing with Ben is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that his liver is going to be really taxed to get rid of these toxins. So perhaps he could have and I'm not a doctor, I'm just a ferret. Anyway, what happens is that you want them toxins to leave. So he goes on a liver support. So like dandelion or chicory or something like that creates more bile. This is how a human being works. It's not in scientific technical terms, it's in communication terms for two people here.
But that's so cool. Like, I had no idea of all that stuff. That's in the uric acid and all that stuff. That's
number one to get rid of.
That's
if
amazing.
You don't want pain, that's number one. Don't eat uric acid. You know what? You know how uric acid gets into you? The worst way is through a cattle lot. The cattle sits there. It doesn't get any exercise, so it builds up in uric acid. When I eat a piece of beef, my teeth hurt. That sits in a cattle lot. But if it's free range, my teeth don't hurt because there's no uric acid. So same with Ben. He probably has injuries, right? So where the injury is, that's where all the uric acid's going pointy like that. And it hurts like heck, boy. And then when you flush it out, and it takes a couple months, it takes 2-3 months of eating raw green vegetables. And you're there, you're growing it. You can see the thing about living off grid and growing your own food. It's only here for a short while. So preservation of it or extending the time zone is key to or if you have money to buy your greens. So that, long story short, there's microgreens that you can grow at your place all year round. That's number one for Ben, and chop it lots. Chop the living out of the microgreens and then feed it to him.
All right. I'll do that, Howie, for sure.
Yeah, it assimilates into his body. It's simple as that. And every day he should have microgreens.
I'll be growing more. I'll be growing more for him for sure.
Nice.
I will be doing that. I want him to feel better. I want his back to, because man, it wears out his patience big time, and we, being in pain all the time, it's just crazy. I see him, and it's a challenge. Like I try to step up and do more, but it's like I'm not Superwoman, I'm not like Mapleberry Farm. Ashley, she's Superwoman. She's amazing.
I've known them for a couple of years. They're nice people.
Yeah, I see Sean in Alaska's in here, Brother Campin, North Shore Preparedness. I see a whole bunch of new people that just came in here.
Hey, Lodge is here. Hey, how's it going, Lodge?
Lodge is here. This man is a gentle genius. He is
Oh,
a walking
hi.
encyclopedia of nature. He is. And so for you guys just joining in, we were talking about soil building, because
Number one.
got such an amazing food forest. He's got one that's like 45 years old, one that's 11 years old, and he documents it all and he walks us through and he teaches. He's just an amazing earthling. He calls everybody earthlings. He's
Thank you.
He's an amazing earthling, and he's got so much amazing information on his channel, and I've been learning a lot from him, and so I asked him a whole bunch of questions. You guys can go back and watch that if you guys want, and if you have found any value in this, then you can go ahead and click that like button, share it out if you want, and now I'm done with my big questions, and you guys can ask him anything that you guys want in gardening and life or whatever. Last time he was on my live stream, he was talking about his friend that was summoning whales with Reiki energy. I thought
Yeah, yeah, Damon. He's right here in Victoria. He comes to my house once in a while.
so. You guys can talk about anything. We
Yep.
just did 45 minutes of me grilling him with questions and getting all the information. I'm gonna go get a glass of wine and finish these 15-20 minutes with Howie with you guys and interact with you guys a bit. So I'll go get a glass of wine. I'll be right back.
Well, thanks, Pete. Good to see you, Pete. Yeah, Mel does a lot, that's for sure. Summer's here. I think I have a tan. Spent most of the day outside and eating lobster. Oh, hey, enjoy being. Hey, that's a cool channel. The chicks are doing really well. I'm down to 18 chicks, Cecilia, and they're doing really good. By Friday or Saturday, I'll put up another video on the chicks. They're getting huge. I feed them pretty good too. I feed them my collard greens every day. They're huge, huge leaves. Yeah. I have two channels, Sean. I have the Howard Jones, and then I have Food Forest Permaculture. But Food Forest Permaculture, you can find it on YouTube. I don't know how to put the link up there, but
Jack put it in the description earlier. Jack, if you can put that back in there in Mindful Homestead. The Overweight Gardener, Mark, how you doing? Awesome. So yeah, Mark, you missed out on like all the questions I've asked him about soil building and his food forest and everything. It was really interesting. You can go watch that back. He's got awesome information. And now we're just like I am done asking him all these questions, and now we're just chilling and answering some questions in the chat. Just drop that link. There you go. I will try to find that, I guess. Food forest, permaculture. I should have put that in the description below. I completely forgot to do that. So a little update on my chickens. My chickens are not doing really good. I found out, well, I've been doing a lot of research, and I think they have a vitamin E or B12 deficiency. So I've been searching because they're 2 weeks old, just about 2 weeks old, and they're starting to get their feathers on their wings, but they're just having a hard time standing up, and some of them are having a hard time getting to the feed. So I have to manually bring them to the water. I got some vitamin water for them today, so hopefully that will help them out a little bit. I found out that sunflower seeds have vitamin E in there too, so I spread some out. I got some minerals from the ground, put it in there so that they can scratch it up and maybe absorb some of those minerals. So I got like half of my 35 birds are having a hard time. I don't even know if they're going to make it through the 8 weeks. So I think it's my feed that I used in the beginning that was probably the problem. So I don't know where I'm going to keep you guys posted, but it's been a lot of work trying to keep these guys alive.
they were cute when you had your phone on them. They were cute.
I know they were doing so well. So
Yeah,
next time I do chickens, I'm gonna do that magic water and make sure that they have a really good feed with
yeah,
minerals in there. But I'm definitely gonna do that Justin Rhodes magic water with the apple cider
that's
vinegar,
good. Yeah. Oh
honey,
yeah, the apple cider vinegar is number
garlic.
one.
Yeah, like a big mix of that stuff for them. It's like
Yeah.
a Gatorade for chickens.
Yep.
Totally
Yeah.
gonna do that
I
next.
watched that.
Yeah.
I knew about the vinegar part because I read a book from like 1934 on all the uses of apple cider vinegar and how the mother gets to it. It's from flies that fly in and put poop in the apple cider vinegar, and then that turns into the mother.
Oh,
I,
really?
yeah, I know. It blew my mind too. I was like, oh, I'm drinking
Fermented. I have some.
fly poop.
That's amazing. I think I'm gonna try it once I have my apples and stuff. I have this apple cider vinegar mother that I'm probably gonna try to make some.
Yeah, yeah, it's good in all animals' food. Apple cider vinegar in all animals. It doesn't matter what it is. If you put it in milking cow, it doesn't get any disease in the cow's milk.
Oh,
That's
that's
how good
amazing.
it is. Yeah,
And be
yeah,
sure to get the real good organic with the mother apple cider vinegar because there are so many lookalikes. Like I know that
yeah.
here my Ben will go get some I ask him for some apple cider vinegar and he'll go get that like straight bottle that's like really acidic and it's like for vinaigrettes mostly, but that's not what you want to give them. You want to give them the real
No.
stuff, the good stuff.
Cecilia Jensen there, she talks about something here. Apple cider vinegar should be added to all their water per most homesteads.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good thing to do.
I just put his link down here, you guys, so you guys can go check out Food Forest Permaculture's channel right there. Amazing information.
So what's the if you have do you have radishes yet and lettuce?
I have lettuce. I haven't planted any radishes. I don't eat too many radishes. So, uh,
Right?
I last year I planted a whole bunch, but I wasted a whole bunch. So
Pickled radishes are nice.
the what?
Pickled radish?
Yeah, I'd have to try that. I still have time to
Nice.
plant some. The heat isn't too bad. It's gonna cool down a little bit. Um, but yeah, I got some lettuce. I got some spinach that I've been eating, and like my sweet peas are just starting to come out, and my beans, my bush beans.
That's what Ben's got to be eating, all that fresh greens.
Yeah.
And just that, not meats and stuff. No, I'm telling you, you change. You can actually look up a lady called Lister Nutrition, and she looks at your blood. She's a live cell analyst. She's a friend of mine, and it's called Lister Nutrition, and her name's Marilyn Lister. And you can contact her via the internet. She has a website, and then just phone her and ask her, and she'll tell you exactly what I told you about what to do with Ben,
Yeah,
because he's a good friend of mine for 25 plus years.
that's cool.
And
What's her title? Is she like a phytotherapist sort
she's
of?
she's a registered nutritionist.
Okay.
She's an orthomolecular scientist. She has a degree in education, a degree in psychology, and the list is endless. I've got a couple degrees myself kicking around.
What are your degrees that you have?
I have several degrees in Shotokan from Okinawa. It's Shotokan martial arts. I have 4 degrees in that. I
Cool.
have, yeah, I've learned Tikiaka Shodan Hin, Nidan Hin, Sandan. Learned Tewaza, Kankukadai, Basadai, and MP.
Wow, I have no idea what those are.
They're all it's all choreography, kata fighting, and showing not necessarily fighting, but your prearranged forms, and yeah, it's just the gradings that you get, and then you get a degree because you have to perform, and to a high degree with kudos and accolades to get a degree. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of fun learning. I have a couple other things that I have too, but nothing serious. Just dabbled a little here and there in university, and yeah. But mostly you're going to learn by yourself. You are your own best teacher and physician as well, and
Yeah.
that's out of the Bible. Jesus's direct quote, and
That self-healing is crazy. It's something.
Yeah.
Self-healing is a real thing. I just wanna say hi, Will, Miss Kmitz, and, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. You guys are awesome. 22 people this week, and I'm so glad that Howie, we were able to shed some light on his channel a bit,
Hey,
and
that's cool.
we still have 5 minutes, so this is the 5 minutes mark. If you guys have any, last questions for Howie, then this is the time to do it. I hope that I was a good host, and that you
Great.
guys got some value
Great.
out of this.
We'll have to do this again in the fall to see the harvest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If you can figure out how to do a live stream with your phone, like to
Well, I will. I don't give up.
like you could join in, like I'll send you the link and then you can show us like your food forest.
Yes,
Oh,
that will happen. That for sure. Like
yeah.
right now, it would have been nice to go walk around right now because everything is in bloom, all the roses and
Oh, yeah.
the fruit's young, but it's still you can see the line outline of it all. But this has been fun. I enjoyed this, and you're my friend. I don't make many friends easily, but you're my friend. So.
You're my friend too, Howie. I'm really happy. And if I go to BC, I'm totally gonna go see your food forest and I'm gonna make sure it's not in wintertime.
Well, in the winter time, it's always nice too to see, but right now it looks very tropical with all the. I put climbing roses through the trees, not just grapes and kiwis attached to the tree, but I'll put climbing roses there as well. And
Wow.
then it just you want to get as most as you can for the area that if you're just getting apples from a tree, why not get apples and grapes from the same area? So
See,
yeah.
there's Howie's channel right here, and he's got a lot of videos of him walking through his food forest, and the amazing soil from his student's place. I've been watching him for a little while. And look at his blooms.
A lot of videos on there, well over 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And got some how to make some rosemary oil and cannabis oil for the
Infusion.
wax and infusion. There you go.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of really cool stuff on here. Just wanted to show you guys. Hey, Rain Dance, Jesse, Bon Saint Jean. I run out of beer, so Saint
Yeah,
Jean is
here.
our national holiday. So it's usually like the 23rd of June here. I used to go out to the Plaine d'Abraham where it was the war, really historical site, and we would gang up like over 300,000 people. Just the city buses were full. Oh, I think I was in secondary 5, and my mom came out from Alaska to come visit me, and I totally forgot to go get her at the airport, and it was the 23rd of June. And so she calls me up and she's like, I'm at the airport. Where are you?" And I was living out in Quebec in an apartment, and I had rented out a house, like a sort of Airbnb for us. And I was in secondary 5. I can't even believe that I had the means to do that back then. And so I went to get her in the school bus, and it was full of people. People were doing some pretty weird stuff in there. We can hardly walk through. She had her luggage, and so I brought her to the Airbnb spot, and I was like, "Mom, I'm so sorry. Like you had to see all that." But man, the Saint Jean used to be so crazy here before like stuff happened in the cities, and then they had to shut it down, and then everybody's like, "Well, it's boring now." So and now we can't do any fire this year. Usually they do a big bonfire. Like it was the party of the year.
Hmm.
So this year it sucks because we got forest fires everywhere, warnings. We can't.
Canceled.
Yeah, everything's canceled. Everything. So
Yeah, I'm enjoying my coronation.
yeah, yeah.
Just have to throw that in there.
It's okay. Oh, Lashes, what happened to the Saint Jean? Well, what happened was there was just too many people in Quebec City, and too many people drinking alcohol. The police could not keep the control out of all these crazy people. So there'd be so many 911 calls. It was just really crazy. People on all sort of drugs out there. It was the biggest party of the year. And so they decided to ban alcohol from outside of the site. And so
Hmm.
then, because everybody walk everywhere in the city buses, smoking, drinking. It was crazy. So they just decided it was too dangerous. Like, people would want to go see the show and they'd have to walk through a crowd of these people that are going crazy. And some people would bring their kids, and so it was just like unpleasant for those families. And it's completely understandable now that I'm a parent. Like, I would never bring my kids to a spot like that. Like, I was so young. I was like 15, 16 years old, and I'd go there and I'd see the people with their kids and I'd be like, "What are you guys doing here?" Yeah, but there were some pretty big parties.
Nice. Well, Mel, it's been fun. It's been great. I really enjoyed this. We must do it again. And you're a great host and a great interviewer. And I think we all learned something from everybody. I'm sure I learned a lot.
Oh, me too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good
And
luck on your chickens. Uh,
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope if I don't save the ones that are already like having a hard time, at least I want to be able to save the ones that are walking right now, which I probably have like 15 of them left that are like showing good signs of wanting to live. And so hopefully that mineral
wow.
water is going to help. And tomorrow I'm going to go out because everything was closed today. So tomorrow I'm going to go out to the co-op and see if I can maybe get those real vitamins that they have.
For sure. Give them every chance.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Much love and respect. Remember, make some soil. Food comes from within it.
Yeah. Awesome, Howie. Thank you so much for hopping up. Peace. He's so cool. That Howie. He's got so much information. All right, so I'm just gonna check through the comments because I'm just about ready to hop off and go check on my chickens too. So thank you guys for coming up here. Sean, Alaska, North Shore, Cecilia. Rain Dance says, I've done a lot of Saint Jean's. It's a lot better now in some ways. The old Anglo Franco thing has calmed down. Family like mine, so it's much more pleasant. Yeah. So yeah, it was really getting crazy, those parties. Like 300,000 people in a city. Yeah, it gets crazy. All right. See ya, Maple Bear Farms. Thank you. I don't know if it's Ashley or I guys have an awesome night. And yeah, definitely go check out the Mindful Homestead tomorrow. His Scapes video at 8:30 is gonna come out. So yeah, go check that out. Cause usually, yeah, Scapes, I got a pretty good Scape video that I'm probably gonna post for you guys too. And I think I'm actually gonna take a 2-week break here coming up pretty soon because I got so much stuff to plant in the ground and I got so many videos that I need to edit. And so I might do like a 2-week live stream break for just for now and take time with my family and stuff. So yeah, you're very, very welcome, guys. So on that note, see you on the next one. And hopefully I will get that colorblind in English video because Ben got to see in color for the first time of his life, which was so amazing. I just don't have the same content because we had all the French family. And so I'm going to try to mash up what I have of the English, what he said, but it's not going to be like, I guess, the authentic reaction, but you'll see some of it. I got some English at the end of my French video, actually, his reaction to my skin color. So you guys should go check that out. All right, guys. Have a good night.